Is it still in ideation stage? Has there any work which has been done? And was it even considered by SEBI board at all?
I think the most key question, this one, I will address the last. Because many people will ask that question. Let us address the other questions in the meanwhile. So I'll request my colleague Kamlesh to answer about Parva.
Yes, sir. So it is the real name of PBA, which was earlier introduced in the consultation paper, is Parva, past risk return verification. So that is, in principle approval has been given, and very soon it will be operationalized. So the reason behind this relaxation is that you will only be, if I am an IA or RA, I will only get my prospective transactions verified by Parva. Now what happens to my past transactions? Because prospective transactions, maybe after 1 year, my 1 year transactions are verified, then I can advertise that 1 year performance. But what do I do till that time? Therefore, this provision has been given that on one-to-one communication, not as an advertisement, you can share with the client certified your performance, certified by CA or cost accountant. And this relaxation is only 2 years. It doesn't mean that, it is going to be operationalized after 2 years. It will be operationalized very soon. But after 2 years, this relaxation will go away.
So, on minimum public government approval will be needed. Will it be executive or does it need to go to Parliament?
Typically, whenever the rules are made, they are approved by the minister and then placed in the Parliament. And in the Parliament, they have to be there in a certain number of days, much like our regulations also. So they are, the rules means that the Parliament has given the powers to the government to frame the rules, and then they have to be placed in the Parliament, so that if there is anyone has an objection, that can be taken on board. So it will follow the same process.
Also, is there any change in what has come right now? I can see more categories. So if you, which has been there from discussion paper till now.
There is no change. There is no change.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
I think that we had people largely welcomed it, so we didn't have to change it.
Good evening to everyone on the board. Sir, a couple of questions. One with respect to...
Sir, please mention your name.
My name is Yash Jain. I am from CNBC TV 18. Just a couple of questions, sir. You made certain changes, of course, when it comes to the minimum public shareholding, minimum public offer, when it comes to IPO. Just for the sake of clarity, could this also be taken retrospectively, where certain large issues which have come recently would want to avail a longer time to reach that minimum public shareholding mark? One. Second one, with respect to the reservation quota for life insurance companies and pension funds. In that case, what if they don't find enough life insurance companies and pension funds to subscribe? Could that be then subjectively taken care by them through other investors? And finally, sir, the last point that you've made with respect to the governance standards for market infrastructure institutions. Could this now, since it's approved, become a precursor for a lot of corporate activities which exchanges may be planning to take, like in case an IPO or something?
So the first one you said about the
6.7%.
yes,
Retrospective.
Yeah.
Well, you're joining us here on the broadcast with the SEBI making those key changes with regard to minimum public shareholding. We're also joined on the phone line by DP Singh, Deputy MD and Joint CEO of SBI Mutual Fund. Mr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast. First up, if I could just get your initial reactions to these slew of changes, what do you make of them, and what do you feel will be the immediate or the medium-term impact?
All these changes are very welcome. Actually, this process was already started when they came up with the consultation paper. These were already on cards, and these are very, very welcome developments. for transparency, for governance, and for the ease of doing business, as well as more and more companies can come into the public market now, which is the need of the hour. I think all this, there's nothing negative, all positives only.
Right, right. Before we come to the nitty-gritties of the changes, if you could just get your reaction to that retention of the 35% quota in terms of public shareholding when it comes to large in the retail space for large IPOs. Along expected lines, you reckon that 35% quota for retail investors staying unchanged?
When reducing the size and 35%, that's okay, but we'll have to see the details. We have not yet gone through the details, but the tenor, the direction of all the regulations is very, very welcome.
What is your take quickly on the mutual fund, on the mutual fund input there, really, with regard to exit loads as well? Again, keeping investor interests at on top in terms of a priority, a welcome addition, you might think.
Definitely, because in any case, practically hardly there were any schemes which were having 5% exit loads. Exit loads with the practice came to maximum 2%, 2.5%. So 3% is a diversion practically. I mean, regulatory, though it was allowed 5%, there were hardly any schemes which were charging 5%, but this is also again a welcome step.
Equity classification for both REITs and InvITs. But we've gone by the public consultation, by the feedback that we've received. So in the first stage, we will consider only REITs as equity. And going forward, we will look at the InvIT also. We don't want to be disruptive. And also, if you look at the InvIT industry, most of the REITs, most of the InvITs are private listed. Very few, only 4 are public listed. Also, if you look at the features of InvITs, there are relatively more stable cash flows. So they are not so close to equity as REITs could be. So these are the reasons for not considering immediately InvITs as the equity classification. And the second question...
the discussion paper which went into the back burner and now come back again.
That is still under examination.
So last time when you spoke about it, you said that fresh data from the industry, and based on that you will come back with a discussion paper.
Yeah.
So that discussion paper is not out, but you're taking few items from that discussion paper and brought to the
So we are dealing with the elements which are, more acceptable, less controversial. If you remember last year, we had some pushback from the industry on some of the proposals as a result of the consultation. Then we decided we will re-examine and come back with a fresh consultation paper. So it's not off the table, but we are still examining.
So when is that discussion paper going to come back?
I think just in jest, I will add that we could be tempted to say that the back burner will become front runner, but we cannot use that term in SEBI, front running.
Sir, Yatin from CNBC Awaz. Sir, question on the Jane Street matter and several hedge funds that SEBI is examining. There is also an order already. Two questions. Number one is the regulator also looking at Bombay Stock Exchange, because you have found one part to be manipulative in nature on the National Stock Exchange with respect to trading done by the hedge fund there. With respect to BSE, Sensex options and futures, is there something that you are, trying to communicate? And the other part is that if SEBI found out in its investigation that there was manipulation indeed, what is the role of the exchanges? Because if the period was so large, the exchanges have also noticed such unusual trading patterns.
Right, there was some excerpts there from the SEBI press meet that is ongoing. We're of course joined by Mr. DP Singh on the phone line with us. Mr. Singh, if I could just quickly bring you in on these 4 thresholds that the regulator has announced, up to 4,000 crore rupees, between 4,000 and 50,000 crore rupees, 50,000 crore to 1 lakh crore rupees, and above 1 lakh crore rupees with regard to the new norms. What do you make of them? Along expected lines, would you have liked anything perhaps a little different in terms of these thresholds itself?
Definitely on the expected lines, and when the consultation paper came in, this was when writing on the wall that yes, because see, regulator also wants, and the ecosystem also wants more and more number of big companies should list, and that's why it is on the expected lines. I think this is very, very welcome. Step, as I said earlier, I think this will bring more and more companies without worrying about getting into 25% very, very quickly, because that sometimes becomes the interest for a big company. So that's something. 10 years is a long period, and I think with the ecosystem, with the economy growing, so this will become very, very, very quick.
Right. Right. We've also been hearing my colleague Ankur there and also the SEBI chief talk about how the proposed changes could well ease compliance and allow lower initial public floats for large issuers in a sense. Again, a lot of this is being done oriented towards the ease of doing business. How quickly do you feel these intended objectives, both in terms of compliance and easing out of compliance and the ease of doing business, how quickly do you think these objectives can now be achieved going forward?
I think we are just listening to the statement, and by the time this is notified, gazette notification takes some time, and we will also go through, the whole industry will go through, the whole market will go through the nitty-gritties. I think it will be too early to comment on that, but I think when the intention is there, everything becomes very, very quick. Now, those things are not there that it will get hold of the red tapeism anymore. This I can surely feel that these things will happen in a positive way very, very quickly.
Right. And also in terms of regular dilution, post-listing in order to meet MPS norms, which, currently leads to price overhang, impacting existing shareholders. A lot of these issues you feel could well be, bridged once these norms come into place?
Honestly speaking, we just have to go because this has just come. Please give some time to understand all these things. I think it will be too early to comment on all these things. But I can just tell one thing, that the things are very, very positive, nothing disruptive. Everything, whatever is being talked about for ease of doing business and getting the ecosystem better.
Right, absolutely. Like you rightly said there, the proposed changes, of course, are to ease compliance, allow lower initial public float for large issuers, and by and large to ease out doing business, even as the regulator there has outlined some of these. Just one last question before I let you go, Mr. Singh. The SEBI chief also outlining how the next few steps will involve the executive ratifying these proposals, and this also going to meet parliamentary ratification thereafter. Do you feel the journey henceforth in terms of the new norms, will it be a matter of merely a formality? Or do you feel when it goes to Parliament, there could be a bit of a dilation in terms of the timelines we see before these norms come to light and become reality?
This is part of the process. As I said earlier, after the board's approved, there's a proper process, and this is always there. And whatever the minimum time is required, that will have to be given for making it effectual thing. But I don't think it's going to be any headwinds of getting it approved once the board approves it. So we are very, very optimistic that the things will happen very, very quickly.
Right, Mr. DP Singh, on that note, thanks so much for joining us with those insights. It's great to have you with us as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, on that note, we'll have to slip into a really short break, but on the other side, more from SEBI's norms with regard to large IPOs. Keep staying tuned to ET Now as we bring you more news and updates on the other side.